Hello. John. Hello. Hello. That's better. Transitions. How do I get rid of these transitions? Hmm. Let's talk about Kirk Cameron. I think Mike's too loud. One, two, one, two. I think that's better. YouTube. How do I do this? Hmm. Let's try this. Oh, no. No. Today, I was watching and listening to Kirk Cameron on YouTube, a video with the name "Are We Wrong About Hell?" I made a video about Kirk Cameron a while back when he was teaming up with Ray Comfort. Um, I'm really surprised that still today, Kirk Cameron um, still talking about God, the Christian God, in the way he talks about it. Um, I don't know. Watching this video and hear him talk, my humble opinion, I sometimes think that Kirk Cameron is out of his mind when he talks about gods. I actually left a message, a comment on his video, um, kind of basically saying that, asking him what went wrong with him. Why is he talking about, demons and hells and spirits and gods? Um, this is like dumbing down people. You wanna keep a group of people stuck in life, just present them with a God and talk about that God like if it's real. In this specific video, he's talking to another kid. Um, I don't know his name, but again, they're talking about hell and people suffering and being tortured in hell. And if this hell is eternal, it's not eternal. And I'm here thinking about taking out my trash. this is this is how crazy crazy people talk. You have a, like I mentioned on my comment, you have a fully grown man talking about demons and dragons and spirits and gods. It's just incredible. I think probably he could be upset if I bring up that he's making money, probably talking about God like most people do when they talk about God. It's a business. You make money. Actually, it's very lucrative to talk about God. So when you see someone in YouTube talking about God like Kirk Cameron, it's hard not to think about the money that is in it. So just right there, it's very hard for me, at least, maybe not for you, to think that he's doing this with an honest heart. No, you know, maybe there's good money in it, or maybe doing it because it feels good for him. Maybe be doing it because of I don't know, keeping himself relevant. I have no idea. But it's very hard not to think in negative ways when you're talking about trying to describe reality in this kind of soap opera novella thing about a god that is loving but is violent, and talking about heaven and hell. Kirk Cameron, what went wrong? I mean, is there a trauma? Something happened in your childhood? I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful. But you talking about gods and spirits and stuff like that, man, and you seems to be a smart guy. I cannot believe that you cannot see the BS in this whole entire God's crazy story. Supposedly to be a loving God when he's extremely cruel and violent. How can how come you're not able to see and understand that? Well, in a way, I understand it because if you cover your one eye and don't look at the bad things that God do, the outrageously crazy things that God do, and you just want to focus on the good, supposedly good things, it's understandable. You want to be friends and you want to be in good terms with the guy that is potentially going to cook you alive in a barbecue for eternity. You want to be on his good side, right? You don't want to get the guy upset. So let's pretend that you're going to love him. You love the God. Because if you don't love the God, you're toast. Literally, you're toast. So for anybody that believes in the Christian God and you go and watch some of the Kirk Cameron's videos. I have nothing personal with Kirk, but I think I'm trying to do the opposite of what he's doing. He's trying to keep probably unknowingly keep people stupid, and I'm trying to do the opposite. You know, here you have someone telling you what God is and what God thinks and how God behaves. He's going to teach you, he's going to explain it to you because somehow, for some reason, he's an illuminated guy. I don't know. So I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to tell you, hey, why would you let someone tell you what God is? What special connection does Kirk Cameron has with God that he's able to, I don't know, tell what God is thinking and you cannot do the same thing? You know, I find interesting also that there is so many people in YouTube, God saying like, well, God revealed to me, God told me. I call it the God told me business. 100%. Each of these people are lying. They do it for the money. They do it for the benefits they get about talking about a God that might or might not be real. God gave me a revelation that you're going to be, God is going to protect you. He's going to give you that business or whatever BS. As long as you get people to give up their energy, you can transform it in feeling good through money. If you don't know what I'm talking about, try to listen a little bit about when I talk about how humans work, how humanity work. And I could be wrong, but probably you can listen to what I say and analyze it, and just drop it if you don't understand or like what I say. So whenever, if you want to know that someone that talks about God for sure, know that that person is BSing. The moment you hear them say God reveals something to me, they're bullshit. I'm sorry, they're BSing. Okay. Whenever you hear someone saying God show me, they're lying. Before I used to say, they could be lying. No, 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 they're lying. They are lying. I'm a little bit with less patient today with these people because they know what they're doing and they don't care. So in a way, I don't care either. You hear someone saying that God revealed to me something, they're lying, 100%. They know that they cannot be proved wrong because how are you going to prove them wrong? So for me, they're lying. God showed me this, God told me that, they are lying. And I think the best thing you can do for you, yourself, your family is to stay away as far as possible from these people. You know, if you are going through a tough situation and you hear Kirk Cameron talk about his particular God and you feel good about it because you're going through a tough situation, who am I to tell you not to do that? If it makes you feel good, go ahead. I'm thinking that the long run is not going to help you. It's going to go against you because now you're stuck in life with this crazy information about a loving God that likes to kill people for no reason just because he gets upset. And they call it crazy enough loving. So when I was listening to this video and listening to the kid also talk about God, there's stuff that is hard to understand from the Bible. It's hard not to come up to the conclusion that it's just a contradiction. But you can do what the kid does, just sorry to say this word, make shit up, you know, manipulate it in your own way so it looks good. I remember a friend used to tell me that you're trying to make a turd smell good. It's still a turd. But yeah, if you're not prepared mentally, if you're broken emotionally, you have problems, you listen to this kid, you're like, oh, the love of God. But if you're not that broken emotionally, you're still a little bit stable in your mind and you can analyze and reason things. All the stuff that they're talking about is just, someone could think that they're both out of their minds or they're just there for the money. You know, I I, I don't think I'm being disrespectful. It's my opinion. But nothing, absolutely nothing that these two guys are talking about is going to help you in any way in your life. Actually, I think it's going to go against anything good that you have in your life because this is basically telling you, hey, you see this box? This is what God is. You accept it. If you don't accept it, something bad is going to happen to you. That's just manipulating people emotion. Let me explain something to you that, if you want to accept it or not, that's up to you. But for humans, there are three main aspects to humans, which is thought, feelings, and actions. When you affect one of those aspects, you can affect the other two. If you affect two of them at the same time, man, for sure you're gonna get all three of them. So you can get a person to do something for you that normally they will not do it if you are not affecting these three aspects of a person's life. So when someone talks to you about God, you gotta be aware, because most likely they're trying to guide you in a certain direction. For example, to get you to do something. If someone talks about God, for example, a preacher, probably they want to get you to go to their church, and you're going to be a customer. You're giving money every Sunday or every week or whatever, giving donations. So they know that if they get you emotionally, they get you to point in a certain direction, they're going to get any energy from you. This is basically it. To redirect people's energy in a certain direction. I want to get you to watch this video so I can get lots of views and I can get money from that. So in the sense that we're talking, I want to redirect your energy to come this way. Okay, so I can at the end make that energy into money, and finally to affect my energy. I want to feel good. Anybody that talks about God and they're supposedly doing it from a good heart, they're not doing it for the God. They're doing it for themselves. If you don't understand that, you're going to get caught up probably in one of these crazy stories about gods. You're going to get caught in Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, any of these religions. And I think they will not take you anywhere good at the long run. If someone tells you what God is, that is dangerous, because they are just getting that information from a book. That's it. And they're just passing it like if it's real and the truth. No, it's just words in a book. And they try to inject feelings into that information so they can get you to do something. There are some people, for example, at church, that want to get your energy in a more sinister way, probably sex, favors and stuff like that, like you see often enough. But I don't want to convince you that there is a God or there's no God. Probably if you're thinking I'm trying to convince you to ask questions and not to just open your ears and your heart to whatever information you hear from a God. Mm-mm. No, especially from a YouTuber, a guy in the internet, or a preacher. No, these people have probably more problems that you have. The only difference, probably, if they're making money talking about God. You always hear on my videos, I say that there in Christianity, in God's world, there's two kind of people: the one that give the money and the ones that receive the money, or the ones that give their energy and the ones that receive their energy. If you hear me talk about this energy stuff, probably you're gonna get to understand not only how religion and gods and people that talk about God manipulate your feelings, but you're gonna understand also problems that you're having at work, with your spouse, with whatever happens in your life, conflicts. If you understand the concept of energy, you will understand a lot of the problems that you have in your life are probably self-created, just because you don't understand how life, humanity, and energy works. It's just like you're trying to get yourself in a jiu-jitsu mat, and you're gonna think that you're gonna fight against a black belt, and you're thinking you're gonna win. Well, I think in a way, life is like a jiu-jitsu mat. If you don't have some kind of understanding or training about what's going on in life, someone is going to use your energy. Someone is going to make you tap. And once they have that power emotionally over you, you're going to do things that normally you will not do just because you know you are in a disadvantage point. So instead of moving by love, by good feeling, now you're moving by fear, which normally you do with religion. You must always move by fear. That's why they have to mention hell and the devil, because if you don't move by pull, which is God, then God's love, oh, you're not moving by pull, you're moving by push. Now, okay, you don't love God. Now there's a devil. There's the hell. You know, you're gonna be cooked alive. You're gonna be separated from God for eternity. It's just crazy information to influence you to get to do something that you would normally would not do. So that's why in my videos, sometimes in my live uh, streamings, I erased my titles, Contradictions in Christianity. It's not only about talking about any God and what are the disadvantages of believing in a particular God. It's also about talking about if you have a problem. If you have a problem in your life, most likely it's going to be in three aspects of your life. It's going to be something that has to do with health. It's something that's going to have to do with money, or it's something most likely that's going to have to do with relationships, including with a relationship with yourself. So I ask people about their God, and tell them what probably it would be a good idea if you stay away from that God. But also, if you have a problem, you can ask me a question. I can give you my humble opinion about anything. Sometimes I like to hear people just talk. Probably there's some people out there that need someone to listen to them. It's very hard to do it through a live stream, but I try. Excuse me. Anyways, going back to Kirk Cameron, and I had to take this transitions off. Going back to Kirk Cameron, I remember when I made a video a while back, um, when he teamed up with Ray Comfort. Once you start understanding about this things I talk about, energy, about thought, about feelings, about actions. When it comes to Ray Comfort, you can see it very well how he tries desperately to manipulate people's feelings so he can influence their actions. At the end, probably get people to be hooked up on his God. And once he gets people to do that, um, these people go and buy his books in his website. I think it's very shady, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of people that don't, even in Christianity, that don't like this guy Ray Comfort. You can look it up and you can see his videos. The manipulation is, I mean, you can draw up with how awful this guy is with trying to manipulate people's actions through affecting their feelings and thoughts. So he always tried to prey on people that are weak emotionally, young people. But there's a lot of people that reject him, don't like him, because I think he's extremely rude and he just wants to think about his God and his God relationship with Jesus. It's just crazy. Hey, Jesus Live podcast. Hello. Must always be motivated by fear. Better off not talking to people that want to talk to you about God. You still feel that way even after our conversation yesterday. Yeah, Jesus Life podcast. I can hear what you say. I can understand what you do. I'm not in agreement whatsoever on what you do. Don't expect me to change just because you talk to people and they change. Um, I'm way over past any God at this point in my life. Not interested. I don't see any benefits of believing any God, and especially the Christian God, which I think is very violent. That's why I would tell anybody with any God, stay away. And just live podcasts. I hear so many people. I like to sit down on live streams, people talking about God. And one of the things that I find in common between most people that talk about God, especially in the internet, in YouTube, is for one, they make money talking about God. I mean, it's a very lucrative business to talk about God, but also this is a very hard concept to understand. But when it comes to believing in God, it has nothing to do with believing in any particular God. It has everything to do with your feelings on how you feel about the particular God that you believe in. Actually, anybody that gets in front of a camera, like myself, and start talking about God, they're doing it for themselves, for anybody else, not even for the God. I think that if God is God, he doesn't need anybody to be talking for him and doing the talking for him, trying to convince people for him. No. So most people, they're doing it uh, for their own benefit. I think it feels good to talk about the most powerful being in the universe. It feels great to be on God's good side because you better be on his good side, because if you're on his bad side, man, you gonna be destroyed for eternity. No, I am not seeking it. Uh, Jesus Life podcast. No, I am not seeking the God that you believe in, because I could be seeking the Christian God, the God from Islam, Buddhist, X, Y. Why would I seek your particular God? No, I think seeking and doubting is part of every human being. We're trying to explain life and why are we doing here? Yes, I'm seeking something like everybody is, but I'm way past the God. I think if I go back like 10 years of my life and I start believing in the Christian God again, there's probably had to get me to the hospital because I'm going crazy. I would never go. I'm not gonna say never. I wouldn't go back to any God, specifically to the Christian God. So again, I respect what you do to try to help people. I would not help people the way you do it, because I see it as a convenience for myself that I can get benefits from. But because I'm honest with myself, I don't believe in the particular God of the book that people call the Bible. I try to help people with a more honest approach, which is real life, this moment in time. No, I don't have, not even close, figured it out. The only thing I'm saying, I am not going to get stuck in my life by accepting the God that you believe in. You believe that the God that is mentioned on a book is real, but no amount of believing, even if you have perfect belief in this God that is mentioned in the book is not going to make the God real. Because if that will be the case, then Muslim God is also going to be real. But when it comes to a Muslim, no amount of belief that their God is real is going to make the God real. And this is one of the reasons I stay away from any God, including the Christian God, because it will divide me, it will separate me from other people, and I don't like that. Again, I'm way past that. One of the things that you will find in a lot of people that believe in gods is that they want to convince other people. Why? What's behind? If you, the case, you want to convince me that the God that you believe is real, why would you want to do that? What for? If I'm telling you that I'm okay with my life, I'm okay with my family, I'm okay with my friends, I'm okay with my country, I'm looking and I'm seeking better ways to live life. But I'm not trying to convince anybody that, hey, your God is wrong. Your God is no. If you're happy with your God, you go, man. But my recommendation to anybody is to stay away from any God. If Jesus is real, wouldn't you want to know? It's a good question. I think that myself, I asked the question, yeah, probably Jesus was real or not. Probably Jesus was a real person. Now, was Jesus the Son of God? I don't know. If I have a chance, just like for 5 minutes to talk about to talk to Jesus, you know what I would ask him? I would ask Jesus, what for? Why go through an act of violence to pacify God? Couldn't another action be taken for God to prevent God from destroying us again in a second flood, flood 2.0? This, if you think about it, this whole salvation thing is to save you from eternal condemnation. No, this whole thing about salvation is to save you from God's wrath, from God destroying you. He's giving you the opportunity to repent by sending his only son to be brutally murdered. Jesus, couldn't you speak to God, like turn around and talk to God like, God, hey, you know what? How about we find another way? If you're upset with your creation, which probably you should take responsibility of that and not make your creation responsible. If you're upset because your creation turned out wicked, how about you come up with another plan and that doesn't involve being violent? You are God. You are the most powerful, most intelligent being in the universe. And the only thing they can come up is with an act of violence. Jesus, you know what? Probably if you can send a message to God, just ask him what for. Is he looking for another God? Is he all by himself and he's created us to find another God for him? What's behind his motives? I'm curious and interested to know about these things. And you know, one more thing, Jesus, I'm pretty sure God cannot get upset at me because he speaks through me. I speak through him. Everything is God. So he cannot get upset at me. Jesus, I understand what you're saying. You're truly and honestly helping people, talking to them about God. For me, if I have this thing in my hand and I can scratch my back, I'm gonna say, no, 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 this is not a back scratcher. Repent or whatever. No, we use whatever help we can have, whatever tool we can use in our life to get you out of a tough spot. If you're helping people that are going through a rough time by talking to them about God, man, you go. And that, I guess, that also makes you happy to be able to help people, especially through God. Probably if we approach the same person, probably you will do a better job. Probably they will feel better with your God version of helping them. Probably through my techniques, no, probably that person will not accept that. So you go, man, you go. If you talk to me about God and your God, I will tell you you're wasting your time. I've been there, done that many years. Probably I read the Bible more than you. I always have my Bible with me, very close to me. If you can tell a person, if you get this button and you put it in your mouth and your hand and close it and say, button, resolve my problem with my wife, and the problem get resolved the next day, I will tell the person, keep this button close to you, okay? And whenever you have a problem, just put it in your hand again, close it, and say how to solve the problem, whatever you want. You and me know it's a button. But if that helps a person, your God, my techniques, what for? If it works. So in a way, you talking about God, it's like a button. Me doing my technique, it's like a button. If the button works, use the button. If the button doesn't work, go for another option. If the God from the Bible, the Christian Bible, doesn't work, go find a Muslim God and test it. That's why people change religions. Whatever works, man. Whatever makes you feel good. I remember an ex-girlfriend of mine many, many years ago used to tell me whatever pickles you tickle, whatever tickles you pickle. I think it was hilarious. So whatever works for you, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, you can try it. Just that you mentioned that you want to spend time with people that have genuine questions that they want to get answered, tells me that probably you think that you have those answers through God. And that's another reason why I stay away from God stuff, because most people that talk about God thinks that God is a fix it all, and it's not. You want to talk to genuine people. I thought you wanted to talk to anybody that you wanted to help. So you're filtering people, probably because genuine people make you feel good. People that are not genuine doesn't make you feel good. Yeah, Jesus Life podcast, man. I feel kind of weird calling you that. If you're really here to have a conversation, you can share your point of views. You can even um, just an opinion everybody to listen to, and I guess about you are doing their opinion. I understand. It's your opinion. Yes. Yes. When I'm looking for answers, probably just like you, there's going to be circumstances, like you mentioned yesterday in your life, that I don't think even God, not even the amount of prayer is going to solve it, especially if you have a situation right in front of you. Doesn't it seem strange that there will be that wall up in this particular area? What wall are you referring to? You know, Jesus Live podcast. If someone comes to you, okay, and they tell you, look, I only have 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Can you tell me the most powerful thing that you can tell me about God that could help me in my life? What would you tell them? You have probably only one thing to tell them. What would you tell them? What would you tell that person? Or does it have to be something that has to be, every week? Can you tell this person something powerful or pray for this person that is going to help them with a personal problem that they have right in front of them? And one of the reasons why they cannot spend more than 2 minutes with you? Would God work that fast in 2 minutes? You know, this is live podcast. I think there's a saying that says that every teacher teaches what they have to learn. I suspect that somehow this is applying here with you. Talking about God helping people makes you feel good. I think you cannot deny that. And when someone is not, you're not able to get through that person, that doesn't feel good to you. I'm not saying this in a bad way because this is about we humans work. The problem is just that we don't accept that fact. We're trying to take care of our feelings, which is not bad. I think the bad part is not accepting that and being honest about that. I just gave you the opportunity to tell me something that probably have never heard before about God, that probably could make me think, hey, you know what? I think Jesus Light Podcast has something in there. Maybe ask him another question. and you just wasted that. You have my full attention, 100%. What would you tell me that you think will be of such impact to my life about God? Probably that would get me to my knees and say, God, forgive me. I thought you were not real. Because why do I say this? Because most people are in this situation, and not amount of prayer had able to get them out of their problem. Yeah, when someone has a problem right in front of their faces, good luck with expecting for that person to be sincere and genuine. Now, some people will sell their mothers in order to get out of a situation, and probably under normal circumstances, they will not do that. So, if you want the perfect setup, the perfect setup so you can talk to this person, man, good luck with that. But like I was mentioning at the beginning of my live stream, I was listening to these two guys talking, and it's just hilarious. I mean, making stuff up as you go, fix it, try to make it look good. If you don't know the answer, just make something up. It's just crazy. But I call it the God business. Make money. It's always talking about God. It's a lucrative business. Sometimes I think I'm in the wrong business. I'm doing the wrong thing, trying to talk about the disadvantages of believing in gods. But sometimes I wonder if I would be better off talking about any god. Probably I'll start making big bucks, big money. Talking about hell. I wonder how many good people are in hell right now, screaming, crying, asking why they're there, why a loving God would do such a thing like that. I think it's a fair question. But what you just heard, there's more crazy stuff on this podcast from Kirk Cameron. I actually heard him say something about God's morals. What basis of morals do you have for saying this and that, selling that to another person? Wow. You know, regarding this, going back to this podcast from Kirk Cameron, one thing that I noticed, there's a point in the video that he grabs a candle and puts out the candles with his fingers. That candle right there, I think, is so symbolic. Talking about hell, and he puts Where is it? There's a candle right there. Oh, where is it? He puts out the candles with with his hands. I find it ironic. Look, look. I find it ironic that he's talking about hell and he's putting his hands on fire. It sucks to, in the case of Kirk Cameron, it sucks knowing that you're doing all this supposedly for God, talking about God and spending your years about God, and still don't know if you're going to be safe or not. Probably not. When you read something as a takeaway, it will take me a minute to type it. I would consider it a loving gesture if you read it and let it linger. Don't slap it out of the air before it lands. Man, write it and I'll read it out loud here in the live stream. Righteousness is your own righteousness. I think the proper way to describe this is the person that is mentioned on a book. That is, his name is Jesus. Righteousness. How is it going to be yours if it's a guy mentioned in a book and probably not lived many years ago? So that's why I think Kirk Cameron, in a way, has lost his mind. It's just my opinion. Probably smarter than me. Probably he makes more money than me. I don't know. Sometimes I think about coming up with a better business that talks about a God. I think it's very attractive to people talking about gods. I'm like, you know what? Probably talk about the tarot cards. Nah. Probably read the hands, the palms of the hands. Nah. I think there's more money in gods. People probably believe more in gods. There's more money into it. I actually thought for a long time to make my own church just because it's so lucrative. There's potential to make big money and not pay taxes. Actually, I'm still considering it. Probably tomorrow you will see my channel is named something else. Probably I'm praising God and putting down the link to receive money, donations. If the God is real or not, it doesn't matter. As long as I get the money, everything is beautiful and dandy. See if I can find no, let me switch here and see if I find the other clip where he says something just outrageous about God's morals. Let me put it here. Okay, Kira Cameron is going to tell you a secret on how to get the Christian God to make special favors for you. He's going to tell you a special secret that he find out on how to get to straight to God, to get him to do special favors for you. Oh, this is crazy, the crazy stuff that you hear in the internet. And I can't believe it's coming from Kirk. If the secret works or not, it doesn't matter. Probably that episode is going to make him good money. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think that's a fact. Because what does Kirk know that you don't know? He has a special communication with God that he knows how to get to God. And besides that, doesn't make you think like, wait a second, if Kirk has a special secret way to get to God to do special favors for you, are you praying for people to heal, to get people out of the hospitals? What is he doing there in that podcast? Why is he not in the hospital praying for people? He gets God to do special favors for him real quickly. Why? Because it's all BS. uh, you know, I ask myself two questions. If he doing this honestly, sincerely thinking that he is serious about what he's saying, or he knows that it's just a lie, big, humongous lie, but he doesn't care. You got to be dishonest. In my humble opinion, when you are presented with the information of a specific God, and you decide to let that information go inside your body unfiltered, and suddenly your actions and your feelings reflect that information, you have an internal conflict. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's moments during the day that you ask God, hey, are you real? Are you there? I feel like I'm talking to myself. This whole thing feels kind of weird. Sometimes I feel like there's error, there's nothing. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind, but you try to push those thoughts away, like the devil is trying to get you far away from God. And my God, you're my Savior, my Lord. And then the next day you're like, man, I pray for this and for that and nothing. Like God is not even here. Basically, this whole thing is BS. It's made up. So Kirk Cameron is going to give you a special secret. You have to watch the whole episode on YouTube to get the special secret that's going to get you in the right folder for God to do special favors for you. Even though we know God cannot interfere in your life because you have free will. So how exactly God is going to do something for you, I don't know, because he said that he doesn't interfere in your life. The moment God interferes with something, then you can blame God. Hey, wait a second. You told me that I have free will, but you did this, and because of what you did, I had a problem. That's just the way I think. So, Kirk Cameron, worship. I remember when I used to worship God. Hey, Jesus Live podcast. What happened? I was waiting for what you were going to write. That's fine. Thank you for spending time in the live stream. Anyways, Yeah, I remember when I used to worship God, this particular God from the book, to get on my knees. I even spoke in tongues for a period of time, and I was just losing my mind worshiping this information of a God. But I'm not gonna go through the whole videos of Kirk Cameron. But if you're interested in listening to some crazy stuff about a particular God, you can go to Kirk's Cameron channel, and you're gonna be amazed on the crazy information you're gonna get in there. Let me go back to my to promote my videos. 10 facts about Christianity. 10 crazy facts. If you want to understand more about Christianity, you can watch that video, and you'll be sprinkled with some honesty about Christianity that probably you don't want to accept in your life. The bottom video, the judgment of God. This kid that you see on the video, he has a YouTube channel, and he has a great God business, making good money, talking about God. Doesn't matter if the God is real or not. Nobody cares as long as you get to make money. But in that video, he talked about the judgment of God and how he apparently punishes people right there when they're talking on a presentation for not listening to God or mocking God, mock God and pay the price. Crazy. Anyways, I think this is good for today for this live stream. Hopefully, someone gets to see it later.